Can you tell us what Queen is all about?
It's basically a rock and roll band with lots of harmonies, lots of everything.
All right, so picture this. You're lounging on the couch with your best friends. The kettle's just boiled, and someone drops the ultimate music gossip bomb. Did you know Freddie Mercury hated some of the biggest names in rock? And just like that, you're hooked. Because this isn't your average backstage story or sugar-coated interview moment. This is Freddie at his rawest, stripped of PR gloss, and laying it all out like only he could. The intro to this video doesn't just warm you up. It pulls you into the storm of his fierce standards, fiery opinions, and larger-than-life passion. Freddie Mercury wasn't just a frontman. He was a force of nature. Known for that outrageous stage presence and a voice that could literally slap you with 4 octaves of pure magic. Freddie wasn't here for mediocrity. Nope, not even close. He famously said that doing things half-heartedly is a complete waste of time. And trust us, he lived and breathed that motto. Whether he was layering harmonies in the studio or throwing a look that could melt diamonds, he expected nothing less than absolute brilliance from everyone. But what really sets the stage is how Freddie's perfectionism spilled beyond Queen. He wasn't shy about calling out fellow musicians if he thought they were phoning it in. Unlike many celebrities who keep it diplomatic for the cameras, Freddie had no filter. He wasn't out to be liked. He was out to be legendary. From punk rebels to arena rock gods, nobody was safe from his sharp tongue if they didn't meet his gold-plated standards. This intro isn't just setting the scene. It's lifting the velvet curtain on a version of Freddie Mercury most people never get to see. So if you thought the glam and glitter were all there was to him, think again. You're about to meet the man behind the crown, and he's not holding back. When Freddie met Sid, the clash of rock royalty and punk rebellion. All right, buckle up, because this chapter is basically rock history's version of a celebrity roast, only it happened in real life, in a studio, and with 2 of the most chaotic musical icons of the 20th century. Picture this. It's the year 1977, and Queen is laying down tracks for News of the World at Wessex Studios in London. Just down the hall, the Sex Pistols, in full punk fury, working on Never Mind the Bollocks. Cue the entrance of Sid Vicious, bass player, punk wild child, and unofficial king of sneering attitude. Sid walks into Queen's studio, smirks at Freddie Mercury, and throws out this now legendary line. "Still bringing ballet to the masses, Fred?" Yeah, it was as shady as it sounds. But Freddie? Oh, he didn't miss a beat. With his signature flair and zero tolerance for mockery, he clapped back with, "Oh yes, Mr. Ferocious. We're trying our best, dear." Iconic. But this wasn't just a sassy exchange. It was a collision of 2 musical worlds. Sid represented punk's raw, rough-edged rebellion, while Freddie was the maestro of glam rock extravagance. Mercury didn't just dislike punk's attitude. He despised its disdain for musical complexity. He once said, "Some people think it's clever to only know 3 chords. I think it's cleverer to learn all of them." This chapter isn't just about a spat. It's about 2 stars, 2 visions, and 1 unforgettable showdown that summed up the creative tensions of an entire era. When rock royalty feuds, Freddie Mercury versus Elton John's secret rivalry. Now, if you thought Freddie Mercury and Elton John were the ultimate glam rock besties, you're not totally wrong, but you're definitely missing the tea. On the surface, they were like the fabulous twin flames of 70s rock. Dazzling outfits, dramatic vocals, and enough charisma to light up Wembley twice over. But behind those sequined hugs and cheeky photo ops was a rivalry bubbling hotter than a backstage curling iron. Freddie once joked, "Darling, we're like sisters." And you know how sisters can be. Translation: expect shade, drama, and the occasional cold shoulder. Things really got spicy in the early 1980s when Queen dropped Hot Space. Yes, the experimental disco-funk detour that had fans deeply confused, and Elton started churning out safe, radio-friendly ballads. Freddie, never one to bite his tongue, reportedly rolled his eyes and muttered something like, "Another tame piano ballad for the masses." Ouch. What made this clash so juicy was that they respected each other's talent, but couldn't resist picking at each other's choices. Freddie craved danger, unpredictability, edge. Elton, during that era, leaned on comfort and commercial success. And after Live Aid, things took a sharp turn. Freddie mocked Elton's safe set list. Elton clapped back by criticizing Queen's controversial Sun City performance. So yes, they were friends, but the friendship had claws, and fabulous ones at that. This wasn't just glam, it was gladiatorial. Two music icons, both brilliant, both bold, and both absolutely unafraid to call out the other, with rhinestone-drenched precision. Pressure, egos, and eye rolls. Inside Freddie Mercury and David Bowie's creative showdown. All right, let's talk about the musical equivalent of throwing two alpha lions into the same cage and hitting record. When Freddie Mercury and David Bowie teamed up in 1981 to create Under Pressure, the result was a rock masterpiece. But behind the scenes, it was a full-blown battle of artistic egos. Think fire meeting gasoline, only with leather pants, eyeliner, and genius-level songwriting. Freddie came into the studio like a man on a mission, structured, precise, and ready to slay every note. Bowie? He floated in like a cosmic wanderer, full of spontaneity, incense, and mood swings. And let's just say, it didn't go over well. According to the Queen crew, there were moments Freddie wanted to throw Bowie out the door. And honestly, we believe it. Freddie later quipped, "David thinks changing his mind every 5 minutes is artistic. I call it wasting everyone's time." Yikes! But it wasn't just about music. Bowie's deep dives into mysticism, Tibet, and vegetarianism got on Freddie's nerves too. Picture this. You're trying to finish a vocal track, and someone won't stop talking about chakras over dinner. Freddie was ready to strangle him, with his own scarf. Still, the tension somehow fueled the brilliance. Under Pressure wasn't just a song, it was the sound of two titans clashing and somehow creating magic in the wreckage. It was art born from chaos, and honestly, that's so rock and roll. Mic drops and missed studio dates. When Freddie Mercury lost patience with Rod Stewart. Okay, imagine this. Freddie Mercury and Rod Stewart, two icons with enough hair volume and vocal power to blow the roof off any arena, planning a duet album together. Sounds like a match made in rock heaven, right? Well, not quite. What was supposed to be a legendary project quickly turned into a glitter-dusted disaster. And it's honestly one of the juiciest what-could-have-beens in music history. It all began in 1982 in Munich. Freddie and Rod, in between drinks and diva moments, cooked up an idea for a torch album that would showcase their powerhouse voices. But as studio dates rolled around, Rod kept ghosting like it was a bad Tinder match. He'd cancel sessions to play football or chase models. Classic Rod. Meanwhile, Freddie, who may have loved a wild night out, took his studio time dead seriously. After one too many delays, Freddie snapped, telling a friend, "I don't have time for amateurs, darling, even if they've sold millions." But it gets even better. Freddie didn't just throw shade, he installed a disco ball and spotlight on it. He reportedly mocked Rod's voice, saying it was perfect for gritty street tales with the faces, but now it sounded like he was growling about yachts and blondes. Ouch! And the final nail? Freddie stormed out of a session and said, "There's only room for one peacock on this record, and we both know who has the better plumage." Classic Mercury mic drop. Final curtain call. Freddie Mercury's fierce standards and unforgettable feuds. And just like that, we've reached the final chapter in this whirlwind tour of Freddie Mercury's rock and roll rivalries, a saga filled with sass, scandal, and a whole lot of fabulous one-liners. But beneath all the backstage shade and studio showdowns, there's one thing that ties it all together: Freddie's unshakable pursuit of excellence. Whether he was clashing with Sid Vicious over punk's raw simplicity, rolling his eyes at Elton John's radio-friendly hits, losing patience with David Bowie's spiritual side, storming out on Rod Stewart's football-fueled flakiness, or fleeing Michael Jackson's zoo-like recording sessions, Freddie wasn't being petty. He was being passionate. Passionate about the art, the performance, the drama of it all. Because to Freddie, music wasn't just about fame or fortune. It was about vision, commitment, and authenticity. Yes, he could be blunt. Yes, he could be brutal. But he was never boring. Every feud, every falling out, every diva moment came from a place of deep belief in what music should be. And let's be honest, would we really love him as much if he'd played it safe and kept his opinions tucked neatly away? So, here's to the Queen who wasn't afraid to ruffle feathers, challenge icons, and demand more. From his peers, from his audience, and most of all, from himself. Because Freddie Mercury didn't just sing about breaking free, he lived it. Every single glitter-drenched, microphone-twirling, truth-telling minute of it.